Hi, it's Jo Karen Hudson. Today I'm going to work with you on the square root property. Um, we're still in Module 15. The square root property says if x squared is equal to b, then x is equal to plus or minus the square root of b. Solve each equation using the square root property. Example 1. X squared is equal to 81. Now when I use the square root property, that means I'm going to take the square root of both sides. If I take the square root of the left side, I'll have the square root of x squared equals plus or minus the square root of 81. Remember that when I use the square root property, I have to have a plus or minus, and that's because the highest exponent, the degree of the polynomial, is 2, which means I'm going to have 2 answers every time. So now when I do the square root of x squared, I will have x is equal to plus or minus, and the square root of 81 is 9. So my two answers will be 9 and negative 9. 4x squared is equal to 100. I want to get the x squared by itself first, so I will divide both sides by 4, and then I will have x squared is equal to 25. Using the square root property, I'm going to take the square root of both sides. I'll have plus or minus the square root of 25. Now, the square root of x squared is x. 2 goes into 2 one time evenly. So now we'll have plus or minus, and the square root of 25 is 5. So my answers will be 5 and negative 5. X squared is equal to negative 50. If I take the square root of both sides, the square root of x squared, and then I'll have plus or minus the square root of negative 50, and I know that the square root of x squared is x, is equal to plus or minus. Now I have a negative under the radical, so I'm going to have to take that out. I'm going to express that as the square root of negative 1 times the square root of 50. So now I'll have x is equal to plus or minus the square root of negative 1 is defined as I. So I'm going to change that to I square roots of 50. And then I'm going to think about my perfect squares. Let's see, 1 squared, 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, and I believe 25 will work. So I'll have x is equal to plus or minus I times the square root of 25 times the square root of 2, or x is equal to plus or minus I times 5 times the square root of 2. So I'll have x is equal to plus or minus, and I'm going to write that as 5i square roots of 2, so that when I write my answers, I will write 5i square roots of 2 and negative 5i square roots of 2. X squared is equal to 98, so I will have, let's see, x squared is equal to 98. So when I take the square root of both sides, I'll have plus or minus the square root of 98. The square root of x squared becomes x equals plus or minus the square root of 98. Now I'm thinking of my perfect squares, 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49. Okay, I think 49 will work. X is equal to plus or minus the square root of 49 times the square root of 2. So x is equal to plus or minus 7 square roots of 2. So when I write my answers, I'm going to write 7 square roots of 2 and negative 7 square roots of 2. Final answer. I need you to do the homework on this section, the quiz on this section. This is Jo Karen Hudson. Thank you and have a wonderful day.